Yo, what's up? It's Sugar. I was going through some plugins the other day and I thought, you know what? Have a look through some of your plugins and see which ones you're not really using so that I can take them out and free up some memory on my computer. Well, whilst doing that, I came across a plugin that I bought some time ago and that I almost kind of stopped using and then thought, actually, I'm working on the track and I needed some stereo width, so I brought the plugin back up again and I realised, wow, first of all, it was quite expensive. I think it was somewhere around about the £200 mark when I bought it, and that's in pounds, not in dollars, so I think it's roughly around about $250. So it was pretty expensive at the time. Either way, I got it out again and thought, let's give it a try, let's just see if it will work, and I am very amazed. So it's probably not one that most people are going to be using. Yes, I think it is rather expensive as well, but you know, it is what it is. So okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to demonstrate it on this drum loop. I've got a bit of a drum loop going, so I think I will play it now. So less talking, let's just have a listen to it. Okay, so before I go, actually, I guess we should take a look at this. So you've got this drive button, you've got the bass and compression knob, you've got the high tune, you've got the process, you've got the low EQ, you've got the intensity, you've got the stereo expander, and you've got the output. Obviously, the output's just the gain knob. Stereo expander says what it is, and I will demonstrate that. And the intensity says what it is, but I will also demonstrate that too. But one to note is the drive knob. Rather than drive as in distortion, this drive knob essentially works the components. So the harder you drive it, the more the compressor works, the more the bass works, the more, so it works in a chain effect as it would be. But I will demonstrate quickly. So let's just have a listen to the track and play around and let's just see what's happening. Okay, so one of the things that I found that I really do like about this particular is this stereo expander. Things like pads and things like that, they work really well. So let's just drive this. So there is some expansion going on at the minute, but let's just drive it all the way and take a listen. So that's full at maximum. So we'll listen to bypass it. And that's obviously with hardly any expansion. So I quite like that. The intensity. So you can hear that that's bringing up a lot of the high end in this particular track. So that's quite effective also. I probably wouldn't really use it that loud, but process. So on the mid tune, you can hear that huge amount of low end coming through, and I do like that. If you take a look, you can see some of them say, for instance, here, soft and tight. This will be on your bass. So if you listen to the bass, and you can tell the difference. So that's obviously full tight. So you do get that pumping bass when you have it more to the soft side, and on the tight side it just tightens up the bass resonance and make it sound really. So I guess something like your electronic dance music, something like that would work quite well with it being tight, and possibly for your hip hop lovers, maybe a softer bass R&B would be on the softer side. So that really works well. Let's keep playing. So what I'm going to do, let's just unsolo. Let's just bring this back in. I would say about the expander, obviously when you have it almost at max, you do get that phasing issue. So it's if you're going to use it, you're going to have to pick which instrument, which track to put it on. So I wouldn't probably crank it up this high unless it was absolutely necessary, but you will get some phasing issues if you do have it really, really wide. But this is just for demonstration purposes. Also, so this, I should have said that that button there is obviously your bypass button. Obviously it works here as well. Yep. Where you have these A, B, C and D, essentially what happens is here is if you have it, so we've made some adjustments here, and if I go to B, it resets it back, so you can A, B, whichever you, so anytime you make a change in the settings, it will memorize that, so then it allows you to A, B each of your individual settings. So this is where we previously were. If we go to the B, we make some adjustments here. It's going to store them. Sorry, I've got a bit of a croaky voice. It's going to store them. So that's A, and this is B, and obviously C and D would be as they were default because we haven't made any changes there. Just one thing to note as well, when the very first time you pile this up, this sort of tiny light, it flickers. Sometimes you'll see it flickering, and essentially this plugin was built upon a tube system, so a tube compressor expander, and essentially what used to happen is this light would be the valves themselves warming up. Obviously it's a plug-in, so nothing's going to warm up, but it's instantaneous, I guess. But yeah, it's a really good little plug-in. I think if you can afford it, it's well worth getting. If not, certainly download a copy of it. There's a demo you can get from the website, which I will leave a link in the description. But it's well worth it. It's one of these plugins that it's very unintrusive. So when you put it on a track or you put it on a piece of an instrument, it's not intrusive. So it works really well. It's very subtle. But when you do want to drive your bass or your bass guitar or whatever, it will make that difference. For what it is, I think it is expensive, but I think if you're going to treat yourself and you're going to have some core plugins that you want to use, this would probably be one of them. It's not an everyday plugin, probably not for most of you, but it's certainly a plugin that I think is well worth its money in terms of what it actually does. But if you have a limited budget and certainly limited resources and you want to spend some money, this is probably not, it's probably not a go-to plugin for that, but it certainly will be a go-to plugin once you've established yourself and you have a number of plugins, you have your core. This is something certainly worth listening to. And as I said, there is a demo of it. Okay, thanks for joining me today. That's going to be it for me. I'm just going to play you out with a bit more of this plugin, the SPL, Vitalizer Mark II T. Take care. Peace.